Who we be? They don't know. Who we be? PVM. That's maybe. What up, what up, what up? Jeide A track. PVM. Positive vibes, maybe. How y'all doing on this beautiful, lovely, a bit chilly, but still a blessed Sunday evening? We are here once again, per usual, 7 o'clock time. IG the place. PVM Talk Show on IG is the space. And we love to have y'all. I get down. How y'all doing? How y'all living? What's going on with y'all? Dash. What's going on with you, fam? Tonight we have a very special episode. Who we be? Let me just put in the topic. That's all I'm putting in right now. You know what I mean? And this episode will be featuring the lovely Lisa Dawn of Because Philly is Love. We're going to get into a lot regarding her, you know, what she stands for, what she represents with her brand, you know, doing some beautiful things in Philly. And something that a lot of the entrepreneurs, a lot of the independent markets, and especially blacks, especially the women, especially the LGBTQ, you know, but we're going to get into all that, you know what I'm saying? We're going to get into all that. Until then, though, it's good. You know what I'm saying? We missed y'all. We're just sending in the invitations right now to those who may be interested, you know. Hold on. IG trying to kick me off of this, John. As if we don't belong here. Hold on, IG. Yeah, chill, man. It's Easter. God wouldn't want that, IG. Can't get on God's bad side now. You know what I'm saying? Sending just a couple of invites. Dash is up in the building right now, so we about to bring Dash up in this joint. You know what I'm saying? The second half of the franchise, the show, the elements of this pro.
You were still good on my end.
What's going on?
Oh no, I was about to say you still good on my end. Like I was trying to type it in, and then the request came in. So this is love. This is love. How you living? Happy Easter.
I'm chilling, man. I'm living good. You know what I mean? God is good right now. I can't complain, man. How you living?
I'm good. I'm actually fantastic now. You know, like the week had its ups and downs. Uh, Moments it could have got the best of me, but you know I persevered and survived like the true survivor and soldier that I am. You know, my car went down uh, earlier this week. Yeah, I got into a little accident. Like, what was it, Wednesday? Yeah, it might have been Wednesday. It might have been, yeah, I think Wednesday. I think I hit something going to work, caused my car the radiator to crack, and you know it put me on ice for 2 days. But luckily things got rectified and got fixed, and my baby is back on the streets, and you know I'm back outside. Like,
That's good to hear, and it's good to see that you safe too, man. You know what I mean? That's material things. Good.
oh yeah, always. You know, God first. You know, God had me protected because even when things were looking shaky on the road, I was able to just carefully pull over. Wasn't much traffic when I was pulling over. Even when I was on the side of the highway, you know, 4:30 in the morning, looking for a tow truck company that was open. You know, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, y'all suck. Because the tow truck companies that even say they 24 hours, y'all really aren't 24 hours. Y'all, I don't know what y'all doing. Y'all just BSing us. Because when people are in need, you aren't there. And then I was screwed by the fact that my mom and me, we had a misunderstanding, I guess. That's the nice way to spin this. But she just didn't pay the AAA bill. So that screwed me on another level. So I was just sitting on the side of the road until, like, some tow company, he was really just passing by, and he just seen me. He just pulled over, and he was just like, look, I seen you on the side of the road. Just wanted to give you a tow, at least to, you know, to some safe landing spot. And I was like, good looking, my guy. You know, that was free of charge. It was good looking. Because when I did have to pay for my tow, that bitch cost me $150, Jetty. I was tight.
Yeah.
Nah, but I mean, you know, like shit happens, you know. But, you know, I'm here. I'm smiling. I'm persevering. Money comes, money goes. You gotta accept it the way it flows.
For sure. For
You know,
sure.
nice little rhyme on it.
For sure, for sure. Tion, what's good with you, King? That African butterfly. How you doing, love? We are doing well. Happy Easter. Atomic Alexis, how you doing, love? Sending our love. Tira, what's going on with you? How y'all doing? Welcome, welcome.
Right.
So, you know, damn, first of all, you went through some shit, but I dig it, you know what I'm saying? Um, yeah. So, and in Philadelphia, yo, you know what I mean? Get one thing together, too. I seen this meme. This shit was hilarious. Philadelphia, get y'all roles together. There was this fly-ass,
Yo,
funny-ass meme that
y'all owe
was
me some tires.
situation and motherfuckers was driving in the motherfucking trenches, literal trenches. And it was like, yo, stop. There's a bit of road in the pothole. And it was just like this little small little island of road. And there was a whole pothole niggas was driving and shit. Philly, get y'all roads together, man. Come on, man.
I know. Y'all trying to kill my car. They trying to break down my car. They really owe me money for this. Like as much wear and tear they put on my tires, my brakes, you know. Whoever passing these new drivers, you know, I hate y'all because these cats can't drive. First of all, if you can't parallel park, you can't drive. That's that is red flag number one. Like I was pissed off yesterday. This little kid, and I call him a little kid because he's like a little teenager or early 20s, struggling. A lot of space trying to get into a parallel spot, his spot. He backed in, pulled out. Back in, pulled back out. I finally got frustrated with him. I got out of my car and I started directing him. I was just like, yo, my man, spin it left now. Hit it, let's go. I'm like, you shouldn't need this much direction with all this space, like, and
Right.
you have your license. I was just like, this is sad. This is sad.
You should be
But
happy as his license, nigga. Imagine if he did it.
no, I'm terrified that he got his license because that means he's out on the road with me. I prefer he didn't, and that way, you know, if we called him on the road, we just take that permit from him and be like, look, my man, you on ice for a couple months to a year, minimal. Like I get frustrated. See, that's why I got road rage because people don't know how to drive, and I come from an era where people knew how to drive. Like I was 13 and my old heads was throwing me behind the wheel. So like I'm a little more comfortable, but at the same time, I feel like everybody should be comfortable, at least to an extent, you know.
That's fair. That's fair. You know.
Maybe I'm asking too much of this generation, but I just feel like if you get behind the wheel, you should be comfortable enough to be like, I can handle this bitch and all that it entails. You know, handle the car. Don't let the car handle you. Like, that's the problem with a lot of these drivers.
Nigga sound like Confucius to Yoda right now, man. This shit is hilarious.
I'm in a good mood, though, too. Oh, yeah, and the best news of the weekend. Shout out to my Sixers and my boy Tariq Maxey. You know, young fella went off for 38 points last night, just making me all happy. Man, we went on the series. Champagne and cigars. Life is good.
I feel you. Shout out to the Sixers. Shout out to the Sixers. But, you know, as a slide in on the conversation, we can get started. You know, the young lady, Lisa Daw, will be joining us shortly. But we can get things warming and grooving and moving and shaking and baking how we usually do. You know what I mean? Dash, who we be, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Who we be?
that was
Da, da.
great. It's a great record. And shout out to Kang, our EP,
Yeah.
that brought it to our attention that it would be a great topic for us to talk about while I'm not going to say interviewing her, but just getting to know her and getting to see what she's about and what she represents as far as her brand is concerned. Dash, as far as you are concerned, everything that you're into and everything that you're into as far as your hands and as far as your mind, as far as your branding or whatnot, what does it mean to you to be seen, like to be truly seen? Like, what does that mean to you?
You know, I guess it depends. I guess it varies for everybody, but for me, it's very important. Um, I want to be acknowledged for the work that I do, as well as my work being meaningful. So, like it may be more of my ego feeding, you know, wanting to be seen, but at the same time, like I want to put out great work that means a lot to people, like whether that's food or the writing or the poetry. I just wanted to affect someone, you know, in a way, in a positive light, you know, and like uplift them, even if it's just for a moment. But I do want the recognition for it, because like I always felt like, you know, whenever I have stood in the background, you know, it hasn't really either fed my ego, or it kind of made me a bit resentful of the person who was, you know, being seen as the face distributing my work, you know. And I don't know, like a part of me always felt like it was also telling myself like I can't do it, and I'm just like I can do it. So why am I like putting myself in a position where I'm not the face? You know, like if this is my product and I believe this wholeheartedly behind it, why wouldn't I be the face of it? You know. And I guess that's kind of where I stand. You know, I don't know if that's, yeah, that's, it's really just an ego thing, I guess, in the end, you know, for me. But, you know, it's like a good ego. Like, it's okay.
I dig on that. I dig on that.
How about you? How does being seen resonate with you?
It mean, it resonates with me in a special type of way. And I say that to say this. You know, we all appreciate being credited for, you know, our energy, for our emissions, for our contributions to society, to our communities, to our loved ones, you know what I mean, to people that we just want to see win. We all, you know what I mean, we appreciate that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like it goes a bit deeper with me, as far as somebody being able to acknowledge me past the surface. And when I say past the surface, I mean just, you know, how I look, deeper than, you know what I mean, even my gifts, you know what I'm saying? Like being able to acknowledge me for how I move, and for, you know, certain morals, certain ethics, certain machinations of the mind and the heart, for real, that I feel they sit with me, and they've been implanted and instilled in me from love from my parents, you know what I mean? Even though I don't know my pop, you know what I mean? There's still certain things that he sent down genetically that I still receive and that I still represent, you know what I mean? But mostly from my mother. So when somebody is able to see me for who I am, truly, it's like they're honoring my mother, you know what I'm saying? It's like they're honoring where I come from, you know what I mean? So it don't mean too much if somebody's like, yo, that verse is hot, or yo, that painting is great. Even though I appreciate it, I really do. But it means a lot more if somebody's able to look at me and say, yo, you will be a great father one day. Or somebody would be looking at me and be like, yo, you know how to pay attention to things, you know what I mean? Or you're mindful. Like those things.
Yeah, I agree with you, because I do think those are more important. But I think that they all come in one fold. Like I don't think it necessarily has to be separated between any of the dynamics. Oh, how you doing, love?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
How you
Oh,
feeling?
it's Lisa Dawn. How are you this evening?
I'm representing. I'm good. How are you? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. I don't know if you celebrate Easter, but happy Easter as well.
Thank you. I do not, but I appreciate just enjoying having people celebrate what they need to celebrate because they need to. But yes.
Blessed to have you here. Thank you for joining us this evening once again. And we already started, but you know, you came in just in time. As far as our topic for tonight's conversation, before we get into what Because Philly is Love is all about, before we what it represents, we just like to pry your mind a bit, and you know, just figure out, what does it mean to you? What does that mean? Just what does that entail for you? Like, is that of any importance? Is that of any significance? What does that mean for you?
You just cut out a little bit, so I didn't fully hear the question, but I know Kang mentioned that the topic today is going to be being your authentic self. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I believe it's so hard. There's a lot that plays into being authentic and transparent. I think perception in terms of how people view you, very important. Like sometimes you meet someone and they may have a certain perception in terms of meeting you, and then when they really get to know you, you're like a totally different person. I think it's just important to be true to who you are. And I feel as I've gotten older, it's less important to, I don't want to use the word pretend, but it's less important to have quantity versus quality. So for me, it's important to have a smaller network of people that really support, empower, have the same vision, have the same morals, if that's important, and just be part of that group, as opposed to having a bunch of friends or having a larger group of people that may not necessarily have the same morals that you have. So for me, transparency and authenticity is really important in terms of representing who you are, and just making sure that your support network also have the same values and encourage you the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a beautiful answer. That's a beautiful response. Pardon me. I'm still trying to get an angle, a good angle.
Can you guys see me okay? I don't know how the light is, but it's okay.
Oh no, you both are looking good today.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me ask you this though, Lisa, because you've mentioned something really pivotal, I feel, for a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of networkers, a lot of promoters, marketers. You know, you mentioned about gracefully growing older, in the sense of you now putting the weight of importance on quality over quantity.
Mm-hmm.
Is something that you, or let me ask you this, as far as how intoxicating it can be when you first start something, and then you see so many people galvanize around it, and then you start to realize that not everybody that's galvanizing around it has your best interest, or even the brand, or even whatever you're creating's best interest at heart. Mm-hmm. Is this something that you figured out throughout time, as far as you aged, you figured it out, or was there any thresholds or checkpoints that you had to figure out as far as how to trust, who to trust, or anything of that nature?
Yeah, there was no exact pivotal moment to determine who has your back and who doesn't. I think as, situations arise, specifically like in my personal life or even in my professional life, you have to put guardrails in place, and you have to understand. I think one of the questions that I try to look at is, and it sounds negative, but it's really like a testing mechanism. What's in it for them? So I think when I was younger, I was embracing everyone, right? You're just like, oh, they're cool. Let me just rally and, bring them in, and we're going to ride and we're going to do this. And you're thinking everybody has the same objectives, and they really don't. And it's not a bad thing. It's almost like with maturity, you can sit down and you can be like, okay, what's in it for them? And it's not a question that you need to put to everyone, but it's a question of, let me make sure that the person that I'm bringing within my little nucleus has the same value, because not everybody wants your best interest. So it's almost like a guardrail, but not so much to be a negative guardrail. It's almost like, take a step back, make sure the person is worth it, right? And as you get older, you realize it's less about just everybody saying, oh my God, yeah, great. And you're like, do you really have what my best interest is? And some people don't, and it's okay. I think the biggest learning lesson for me is recognizing that you can't be everything to everyone. Yes. And it's okay when someone may not have your best interest, but recognizing it is super important. So for me, the growth and maturity is understanding or learning how to interpret if that person really has your best interest, and to move on from it. Like, it's okay. It's okay to put people in certain buckets. Not everybody is a ride or die. This person could be an acquaintance, this person could be a friend, this person could be a network, this person could be leveraging for something. And it's okay. Not everyone needs to be in your house drinking with you every weekend.
Yes, well said, well said. I feel like I'm a bit too much in the shadow, so I gotta get up in the light,
Oh, okay. Come in the light, brother.
Right on, right on. So let's get into because Philly is love.
Ah,
I find it fascinating just through my brief search, look through the website, look through the IG, you know, it seems very selfless what your endeavor is about, as far as you reaching out to these establishments, reaching out to, pardon me, these artists, these people that represent something larger than themselves and giving them a platform. What motivated that for you? What was the impetus that decided, or that gave you that fire to say, you know what, people need to be heard, and I have
mhm.
means in which I wish to be able to do this.
Okay, so I'm in the hot seat. Usually I'm asking these questions. So the impetus really is, it is selfless. It is a passion project. I think a lot has happened, and I hate to go back to 2020. I hate to go back to George Floyd. I hate to go back with what happened with George Floyd and the outcome of what happened with that, and then what we saw from the larger public. But that was really the impetus. It was really for me to take a step back and say, you know, how can I, in my little way, create a grassroots movement to help support our own? And it is in no way, I've had friends ask me, and I have friends across not all races who are like, are you going to like segregate and focus on? I'm like, it's our time. So for me, it's selfless. It's a passion project. It's free. There's no money I'm asking the businesses I'm just promoting them on a platform that I'm leveraging like we are today. We're leveraging Instagram. It's a platform already built. There's no heavy lifting for me. And it's really just my way of saying, if we can find support and shop our own businesses, we can keep them in business. And the reason I started to do this was a little bit of research in terms of just looking at the disparity around the population, the Black population, and Black, when I say Black, that's inclusive, right? Black, Indigenous, people of color, and LGBTQ, which is very important to me as well. How can we bring their businesses to the forefront? Because it's easy to start a business. It's really hard to stay in business. And
Yes.
what's important for businesses to stay in business is consumers. And what's important for consumers is to find them and support them. And when we look at the numbers, and I'm a data person, my day job, I work in data every day. I look at numbers, I look at measurement, I look at analytics. And when we look at, if you looked at my website, one of the key things I found was that 43% of the population is Black, 2.5% of that population is Black-owned business. And it doesn't mean that we're not entering the market. It means that we all have ideas and we all want to do stuff. But do we have the right resources? Do we have the right networks? Are people aware of our businesses? How can we find these businesses and support them? So my little passion project is literally knocking on doors. It's not, I'm reaching out to people and saying, hey, I can spotlight you. And they're like, what's the cost? I'm like, no cost. It's free. I literally come out to you. I find you. I bring my little rinky dink Amazon tripod, and I sit there and I ask questions and we video that and I promote you at no cost. I mean, there's a phase 2 in terms of I'm trying to figure out how to scale that in order to make it valuable to the people of Philadelphia. But I love Philadelphia. I'm not from Philadelphia. I've lived here 3 years. I love the culture. I love the people. I rep North Philly. I live in North Philly. Represent. And I feel like there's a gap, from the coffee shop, from the artist, from I've showcased some artists on there, from just the creativity that lives, the culture that lives here. I want to be able to bring that to the forefront. And that's really just the passion project. And what I saw in 2020 was almost pivotal in terms of taking a step back and saying, okay, how can I help my own people? And it's really just very grassroots and very movement oriented. It's still work in progress. There's no revenue stuff. I mean, I'm repping like e-commerce part in order to build money to build it out a little bit more. But outside of that, it's free for the businesses. And it's really a passion project. And it's really why I started this.
Right on. I was heavily.
So, how did you go about finding your first place to interviews? Did you just kind of just was wandering around the city, or you was just like really just like,
Literally.
oh,
Literally wandering around the city and going in. And the funny thing with that is, and if you look at my sizzle reel, last night I literally put out my link tree and changed my Instagram. And I went into these businesses and said, here, do you want to showcase your business? And the funny thing is, no business said no.
Yeah.
Every business said yes. So to your point, it really was, and there was no hesitation, because they recognize that there's a need for people, whether, you want to support, one of the artists, Ayla. I saw you had her on her stuff. She's doing all of this creative work in terms of body positivity and stuff with nude works. I want people to be able, I went and I bought some stuff from her. I want us to be able to buy from our own. And it doesn't take away from the fact that we're going to go to other establishments and support them. It's not that, because I had friends, like I mentioned, who asked, like, does it mean that you're like ostracizing one group for another? I said, no, I'm just bringing one group to the forefront. We need to be to that extra push, because our journey is a little bit different, right? We all know this, right? We all know that the resources are a little bit different for us. We all know that if we go to a bank for a loan, it's a little different for us. Without getting too political, I think the importance is, if we can know that these businesses exist, and from going to order coffee over at Escafe Lounge is Escafe Lounge instead of some Starbucks, that means that puts money back in our community. And that's really what it is.
Yes, yes, well said.
what made supporting your people so important to you? Like, was this something that was embedded into you as a child, or is this just like, because I know nowadays, because of what happened with George Floyd, a lot of people are, tapping it and want to be more, open arms and want to be more helpful to the culture and the community at large. But what is it about you that's driving you to do this? Because as you said, this is a free business. So at the same time, like, that's really selfless of you to not want anything.
What's my revenue model, right? Like, how am I making money?
Like, what's in it for you? Like,
what's in it for me?
said.
I've been asked that question, and the revenue model is really, if people can join the movement and buy the hoodies, I'm repping one today, and go to the website, that money goes into how I build out and scale the platform. But to your other question of why this happened, have I always been an advocate? I think deep down, yes. I've done marches in New York. I've always been that way. I think the pivotal moment, like I mentioned before, was really taking a step back. It took me 3 months to watch that video of George Floyd, and I didn't watch all 9 minutes, but I have friends, we've had discussions. I couldn't, right?
Yeah, I still couldn't.
Yeah, I still could. And what happened, the conversations and what we saw on media after with certain groups, and not to get, but the pure racism behind that was almost like, okay, sometimes I work in corporate America, sometimes you compartmentalize, like, you got to go to work, you got to pay the bills, you got to live. So things happen, you see the microaggressions, you hear, and you put it behind you. You got to, you just, okay, we got to shuck and drive. I mean, like, let's talk it what it is, right? We got to just continue to do what we need to do. I think for me at that point, I said, I can do two things. I can still be that Lisa Dawn that works in corporate America. I got to do what I got to do, but I can do something to help my community. And for me, that really was the impetus to push towards coming up with something. And essentially, I thought about, okay, let's just, I didn't want to work for corporate America, let me be honest. I said, okay, let me just start a business. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to sell hoodies. But I couldn't just sell hoodies that didn't have a purpose. So it was really purpose driven. I couldn't just, I'm not fashionable. I don't care about fashion. I don't want to wear Gucci. I don't care about those things. So for me, it was not just, so to me, it had to be messaging, right? So the messaging behind that and the brand messaging Because Philly's Love and the Fine Support Shop, and coming up with the theme of reaching out to the Black businesses. This is all I put down on paper. And I said, if I'm going to do something, it has to be meaningful to me, and it has to be meaningful for my community. So I've always been an advocate. In the back of my mind, I want Black people to win. And when I say Black, I mean Black, Indigenous, people of color, not Latinos. I mean, anyone that's a minority, LGBTQ, Asian, everyone that sits in the bucket that we don't get the fair chance. I wanted to be able to say, what can I, in my little sphere, do to help promote that? And this is where the concept of Because Philly is Love, and it came up with the City of Brotherly Love, and I tried to combine the messaging with that, and that's where it became Because Philly is Love, because I believe essentially if we can find the love, to support the love, it continues, right? It's almost like moving forward. And that's really the thought of, if you look at my merch, it really is just about love, right? I have neighborhood pride love. I want our youth to be invested in their neighborhoods, to have pride in their neighborhoods, to love their neighborhoods. You see the trash, pick it up. You know what? However we can help. You know, North Philly represent, because North Philly gets a bad rap. We know that. North Philly ain't easy. I get it, but it's still my people. So for me, I want to rep that, and we're not monolithic, and whatever I can do in my little way to help support that is where this came from.
Right on, right on. So because there is a global awakening, let's just say, of the Black trauma and tragedy, as well as the Black Renaissance and the uprising of Black intellects, ideologies coming from the Black sector, from the Black culture that is helping to move economy. And because this is being widespread everywhere, and also considering the fact that you've just now I don't want to say newly, but you've moved to Philly within the last few years, you know, before you moved, a simple question: why Philadelphia? You could have chose anywhere else to have this platform. Why Philadelphia?
Philadelphia is rich in history, rich in Black history, rich in Black music, just rich in terms of the Move network, you know, with Move and that whole bombing, and we're just rich, and it's gonna sound weird. I came from the suburbs, and nothing is wrong with that. There's just a sense of belonging that's different when you're among people that look like you, and that's where I'm gonna leave that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's that. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into that, but I think, yeah, that's how I'm gonna leave that. And yes, I'm new, and a lot of questions like, who are you? Why are you trying to do this? We've been here, we doing this. I get it. It's building, and my focus is not national, it's hyper local, because the numbers speak for itself. And we start businesses. I had a conversation at brunch with a close friend of mine. She said a plant shop opened, 3 Black women opened the shop, in 3 or 4 months, less than 6 months, they were closed. I wish I was able to have a conversation to find out why. Was it resources? Was it loans? Was it why are we can enter the market? I mean, this is a business, right?
Yeah.
When people are entering a business, we have to think from a business, and you have to think of your target audience. You have to think of what product you're pitching. There's the legal part of it. There's the trademarking that goes into it. There are a lot of services that are available to folks if they know how to find them. So my question is, okay, we can all start tomorrow. I can say, okay, I'm going to open a juice store tomorrow, but do we know if we're opening in the right location? Do we know what juices we're offering? Do we know how to market that juices? We can open, but we also we close faster, right? So the entry into market is always easy. The exit for people of color is extremely high. So the goal was really, I think, you know, it's so simple, but it's really hard, to your point, like for people to get that. I just want people to know, if I'm going to buy beads on my hand, right? I can go to Amazon. It could ship tomorrow.
Yeah.
But can I go up to North 23rd and someone in a small stop and buy it as well, I would prefer to do that. And those are the little things that I think the mindset has to change a little bit, because if we are to make any sort of shift in the market to really support our own, we have to think differently, and we have to think of a non-corporate level. And it's no ding to the corporations that are doing their performative, to your point, support, because it's new and it's trendy to do that. And I'm not saying it, actually, I caveat that not to be legally compromised here, but I think I recognize that companies see the importance of inclusivity and understand the importance of including all cultures in part of their merch and their merchandise. But I think we have to think of what's performative and what really drills down. The bodega on the corner is not on a big platform for you to find them, right? The person who's selling beads is not on that platform either. So if we can create a very hyper local approach where our own supports our own in our own neighborhood, that, I mean, it's harder than it is, because it's very hard for me to scale that. And I'm working with a lot of people to build that out in a very structured way. But, it's harder than it looks. The first step is just getting them on the Instagram page and promoting them, and it's free.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right on.
That's everyone's favorite four-letter word.
FREE.
Yeah.
So
I can't see the comments if we don't have any.
no, there's no comment.
Okay.
Everybody just grooving and just listening. There's a lot of gems being dropped right now. There are a lot of gems being dropped. So because first of all, before I even get to that question, let me put that to the side. I'm going to put myself on a chopping block.
Okay.
Sometimes I get overly cerebral, right? And it's hard for me to balance sometimes the logistical aspect of my mind versus the humanistic aspect of my mind. I'm just getting into the world where I'm learning numbers for more than just its numerical value or, just units or variables, you know what I mean? Being able to integrate it into applied mathematics and not theoretical mathematics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just walking into that. For those who are just upcoming, for those who are still in the infancy stages of developing their business, developing their brands, knowing about these things that they need to know about logistically, but still being able to be grounded within their communities to actually contribute something that is going to help.
Mm-hmm.
How do you balance being analytical with your number mind, but still being grounded with the people? Is that a difficulty, or is that just something that effortlessly comes to you?
Nothing is effortless. Everything takes work. I think there is a balance of understanding. I mean, businesses are in business for money, right? Sorry, let me decline that. My daughter's calling me. Businesses are in business for money. So the numbers are important. You have to look at whatever you're selling and come up with a solution that solves a problem, right? Or perceived solves a problem. It's not effortless, but you must have a strong support network. I mean, there are days I sit here and I think, what am I doing? How am I getting to that? I need to speak to a product manager to develop the framework for what I'm thinking of. And just don't give up. I mean, the advice I would give is you have to balance both. Numbers are important. You can't start a business without backing into some sort of revenue goal and outcome, but you have to have a passion. I think the reason I enjoy this is because I enjoy what I do. I'm not really good at interviewing folks. I'm learning because it's not something. I've never been in front of people. I'm usually behind, and it's work in progress. And I put myself out there, and sometimes it's a lot. But when I think about showcasing someone who's worked hard, if you think of my last showcase, Historical Dream, and her advocacy of promoting as an artisan, as an artist, as a jewelry maker, as an accessories maker, promoting our history as part of jewelry for us to support, that's huge to me. So to her, she's doing her passion. So all I can say is if you're starting something and you want to marry, I think your question was, how do you marry the analytics? You have to marry the numbers, right? My numbers don't match. Right now I'm in the negative, but it's okay because I love what I'm doing. And I think it's marrying your passion and what you think makes sense. And then obviously looking at the business side of it. Do I have the right target audience? Are people going to buy my hoodies? Like, I love my hoodies. I know what I'm repping. I feel when the logo in the back that says Find Support Shop, I think people get the concept. I think the more conversations I have, people are going to understand it more and support it and build a movement. I have to meet with community leaders. I have to expand my network. I have to have different partnerships. All of that is work in progress, but I enjoy that. So it's not like work for me. As opposed to my day job, which is like work for me, right? So it's almost like, if you can find something that you enjoy and marry the numbers and the analytics and back it into, I'm a big data person. I look at numbers every day. Every day my accountant is like, okay, what is happening here? So, it's really important to do that, but it's really important to stay true to who you are too. And just, we gotta live and something's gotta make us happy. So find whatever it is that makes you happy and go for it.
That's beautifully said.
So how do you manage the two between your day job and this, and and still like try to maintain like a social life if that's even possible?
Whiskey? No, kidding. I literally am a bourbon drinker. Bourbon neat. No, in all honesty, it's a lot. And the passion that I have for this, I email at 3 a.m. So I'm a very early sleeper. So I work and I sleep and then I wake up at 3, and that works for me, 3, 4 o'clock. But then I go back to bed at 8. So to me, you just have to find what works for you.
You know what? There's something, I never thought about that. There's something that has been permeating popular narrative, if you will, or science, if you will. And that's, there is a group of like-minded individuals who wake up early. And it's something about waking up early and getting work
I'm an early bird.
that sets you apart from those who wait. And don't mind me, I'm just walking into it. I got a job at Home Depot, so I'm corporate too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They whip my ass. I have to go. I have to wake up I gotta wake up 4 o'clock in the morning in a few hours just so I can get there at 6. You know what I mean? Just so I can have some time for myself before I go and get myself drained over there. Have some time for myself, find my zen. You know what I mean? And then I head out and I work. But you also said that you take. You go to sleep at 8, so you have time set aside.
Right now, you guys are cutting into my bedtime. No, I'm kidding. So, in all honesty, like I am an early sleeper. I've always been, which works out for me, and I'm an early riser. Right? I think with balancing the two, I think the question was, how do I balance both? I can't work on this during the day. Obviously, because we work, and that pays the bills in order to live. And so, yeah, I do. Let's just say I go to bed early. I'm never up really at 11 midnight or anything like that. And I wake up, I do stuff. Honestly, I wake up like 2 o'clock. I may work for an hour because that's when I'm clear. That's when I can write in my book my tasks, what I need to follow up on, who I need to call, blah, blah, blah. And then I go back to bed. I get up at 6, I go to the gym, and then I get ready for my day job. So I literally work on Because Phillies Love on weekends, and literally within that time frame in the morning of following up or sending emails or checking stuff early morning. But that's just my schedule. I think there's no set way for anyone. I think you have to find your own groove and what works for you. I just happen to be an early sleeper. Like and if I miss that window, it messes me up. Like, you know, sometimes you sleep, if you miss your window of knocking out and you stay up, like and then all of a sudden your whole body is like off whack. So I literally have to be in bed by 9-10 o'clock, because then I'm whacked for the, it's just bad getting back on schedule. But that's how I balance it. And it's not the easiest thing. And it's you know, when we say these things, it sounds so cliche, like, oh my God, you just get up at 3. It is tiring. I want to let anyone know that it's not like I'm getting up and I'm like, oh my God, let me just do this. I'm getting up and I'm like, oh my God. And, you know, the reality of running anything or supporting anything or doing anything, I think there's a lack of, like, we need to talk about how hard it is. It's not easy. And I think we don't want to do the Instagram where, oh my God, I just woke up today and I did this. No, I literally have to either put on music or affirmations or whatever motivates you. People are different, right? I listen to Beanie Man every day, or I listen to my soca music, and I have to get something that's pumped. Somebody else may listen to Michael Bublé, or they may listen to Celine Dion. That's okay. But I know if I'm not putting on my Spotify, no plug to Spotify, well, my music to, and we know why, Joe Rogan, but I still have it. But my plug to, you know, no plug. But when I put that on, I literally am in the mood. So find what works for you, right? And that's how I do it. It's not easy. I'm not waking up and it's like, oh my God, flowers. And it's not that. It's I'm waking up and I'm rubbing my eyes and I'm like, oh damn, I gotta get up, right? So it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Now you're preaching my life right there. That's me every morning.
Oh, with Beanie Man or just in general?
No, the waking up and frustration, like, oh, I gotta get up, like the Beanie Man.
But I will tell you, my daughter gave me this wonderful diary and I've been using it. It literally, I wake up and I am grateful, because we can't, with everything that happens, I also feel it's important to take some time out and be thankful. I'm non-religious, and you know, religion doesn't play a part in my life, and no offense to anyone else who that plays a part, go ahead. But for me, I wake up and I don't pray, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful for my daughter. I'm grateful to have people that support me. And I literally take time to do that. Not every day. I mean, we're human. Sometimes we wake up and we're still groggy, but it's important to recognize that you're grateful for that Home Depot job. Right? Because,
absolutely,
you know, it's like my day job is not the easiest sometimes, like anybody's day job, dynamics, people, blah, blah, blah. But you have to be like, okay, I'm working. There are people who are not working.
yes.
So if you put that in perspective, it's almost like, to your point, I'm not waking up happy, but I'm waking up grateful.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what, even though we completely respect it, even though you're not religious, there's still a sentiment, there's still an element that bleeds quite intimately to the religious space, as far as just having time for yourself and being grateful before you go into a situation or a circumstance or an environment that is meant to drain you. You know what I mean? So these corporate worlds, we know what it is. The minute you clock in, it's meant to drain you. That's clock in with time. Look, by the minute, we're taking pieces of you by the minute, and then we're going to pay you a certain compensation to let you know how we feel you're valued to us. You know, so I feel like it's very important for us to be like grateful for everything, just to have that space, have that time for ourselves, because it's really easy to get. I go into the job, I see misery all the time. And I
was about to say, yeah.
No, seriously, it's crazy, and it's so easy. It's so easy to be lulled in by it. It's so easy to be lulled in by it. And the reason why I'm able to keep afloat is because that's a ritual of mine. I wake up and I read the word and I read another book, just so I can have some things that when I go into the office and I'm working, I'm ruminating about. You know what I mean? When I'm not talking to a customer, or when I'm not doing customer service, and when I'm not cutting wood and going half depth because of the machine is right here, or when I'm not doing these things, I have time to ruminate over things that I've read. That's part of my peace. I feel like that
Mhm.
is extremely important. Whatever your ritual is, whatever the elements you need to inspire you, to give you that extra fire, to give you that edge. Beanie Man, first of all, that's the king of dancehall right there. I understand exactly. I understand exactly why that would motivate you to get up in the morning and get your shit together. You know what I
It
mean?
does. It's weird. It's weird. I know, and I play the same songs, and it's just energetic. I think there's no way I can't get up hearing that. You know, if I were to play R&B, I'd probably get in my feelings. It's just not the right thing to wake up to. So it's
Yeah.
almost like I gotta choose something, or soca, which is Trini, or
Mm-hmm.
Marsha Montano. I gotta play something that's hyped. And not everybody there. I know people who they're okay to hear, my daughter listens to those affirmations thing with the ringing of the bell. If I hear that, I'm just going under the blanket. Like, I'm not waking up. It's almost like you got to figure out what works for you. And then culturally, obviously, I'm West Indian, and that's what I grew up on. So it's every time I hear that, that's just nostalgic. I'm not going to be in bed. I'm literally going to get out of bed. Or, it's funny because if I'm not feeling it and I don't play it, I'm just like, and as soon as I put it on, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can get up now. It literally is a mood changer. So yes. And back to your point about, work and what's in the mind, it's a mindset thing. And when I'm human, it doesn't work every day. There are days when you're still cussing people in your mind. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But we are human, and we have tons of emotions, and we're not all supposed to just be happy all the time. I think it just sometimes helps to regroup, is what our family calls it. Like if my daughter has a bad day and she comes in, it's like, Mom, I need to regroup. That is our term where she needs to unwind. Sometimes I need to regroup. Sometimes in the middle of work, I need to regroup. So
Yeah.
I'll get up from the computer and I just go for a walk. So people, whatever works for you, in the back of your mind, if you're grateful, then it doesn't turn to hate, right? Because what you don't want to do is hate your day job. I mean, yeah, you can hate it. And if you do, then you put measures in place to move it, right? To
Yeah.
shift. Shifting is important too, and recognizing that. But on the flip side, we're human, and to balance that is hard, along with news and everything, or something that you see on Instagram that triggers you and you get mad, because there are a lot of stuff that can trigger you, but it's really about finding balance.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're not lying about that. It is all about finding balance. So, we're coming to a close now, and we got this ritual here that we do at PVM where we give like a lasting word for each episode. So, while you think of yours, I'll give mine, and then you can give yours, Jeide will give his. But before we even get into that, could you at least let the audience know where they can, purchase a hoodie or contact you and find out more about, the brand,
Of
and how they
course.
can hear
Shout
it.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to my IG page, Because Philly is Love. The goal there, as we talked about, is really to find, support, shop local, hyper-local Black Philly businesses, Black owned, people of color, Indigenous people, LGBTQ. So the website is the same, becausephillyislove.com. So if you go to my Instagram page, follow me. I reach out to folks every day, knocking on doors, asking them to do a spotlight. That's what I do, and I'm happy to promote them. So yeah, shout out to my IG, shout out to my website. Go to my page, check it out. I'm wearing my hoodie. I don't know if I should just stand up, and this is the hoodie here.
Model it all.
No, Philly,
Oh.
represent. We have tons on there, so check it out.
Right on, right on. Love that. So, shout out to T-Shirt Mercenary, the official sponsor for PVM, and that's our official T-shirt that Jeide is wearing right there. So my lasting word for this episode, since we touched on love so much, is going to be, find your love, whatever it is, passion, and, revel in it, and find the joy into it. That'll breathe more life into whatever it is that you're doing. Because there was a few things that you touched on about when you start developing a company, how you just the love for it has you waking up at different times. And for an entrepreneur like myself, I'm in that same predicament where I'm like managing my day job, but I'm also finding time for the TV show PVM and my separate ventures, you know, cooking and writing. And I'm also like stretching myself thin at times, but also trying to find a peace in it. But at the end of the day, I'm just like, this is something I love. So let's keep on pushing through.
Okay, so I'm going to echo that sentiment and say the word is love. And I say love in general, just love is love, and find your passion. Go after your passion. Once you if you get any challenges or blockers, that's natural to get that. Just make sure you also have a strong support network. And I know we started off with quality over quantity. Ensure that the people who are in your network are really supporting you. And it's okay to walk away from negativity. I think, you know, one of the hardest thing I've learned to say in the last 5 years, and it's new to me, is saying no.
Yes.
Or recognizing there are certain people that you put guardrails on. So there are certain people that you can still keep in your life, but you know how to work around them. Not everyone needs to be intimate. So yeah, I echo that, where love is totally important in terms of driving your passion and going after what you like, because that's how you sleep at night. So yeah, that's my last word as well.
Right on, right on. So my last word is a paragraph that I saved from high school about a week before graduation. It was in the newspaper, in our high school newspaper, and it reached out to me so much, I cut it out and I saved it in my wallet, and I had it for 10 years, then I lost my wallet. So it's gone in the wind, but it's something that etched itself into my memory. And the quote is by President Calvin Coolidge, I believe, and it goes, "Press on. Nothing can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unrewarded talent. Education alone will not. The world is full of educated failures. Persistence alone is omnipotent."
That's true. That is, I echo that too. I think persistence, it's a lot of times where you want to give up, where you're tired, where you sit there and you question, you know, what you're doing. And that's why it's important to have a strong network and business network too, right? So even if you need to shift the way, you know, you're working on your writing and you're working on it, shift the way that you do it right now. I was on a call last week, and the one feedback, or the biggest takeaway was, you can't be everything to everyone. So you got to figure out what it is that you're doing and stick to that one thing, and that's it. As well as go forward with your passion and make sure your passion aligns with the market, because it's revenue driven, and make sure your passion aligns with the bottom line. I mean, if you're finding a way to marry all of those three things, and with the right support system, it's not an overnight success. I think a lot of people think when you come into business, like, you know, Facebook took 10, 12 years, you know, Uber, if you watch Uber, it's not tomorrow. And it takes, especially if you're coming in, and for us as people of color, we're coming in on the back end of things. So make sure you're leveraging your network. Make sure you have a strong support system. Whenever you feel like giving up, don't give up. Just continue going. It's difficult. It's not easy for me either. Like, I have days where it's just too much, but you know, there's joy in going out there with my rinky-dink Amazon, what do you call it, tripod, and I do it every day, and I'm like, okay. Sometimes when I'm going to share this, sometimes when I walk in and people are like, "Oh, you ready to do the interview?" And I take off my backpack and I pull it out. They're like, it's like, yeah, but it works. It's not, I'm not ABC, you know, this is not Fox News coming in here. This is just me.
I dig it. Ladies and gentlemen, Lisa Dawn of Because Philly is Love. Thank you so much for being transparent, for your presence. Thank you for your gems. Thank you for joining us for today's conversation. We learned so much. We are humbled by you, and we wish you nothing but the best of success and the highest of height to reach and to manifest upon with your brand. Thank you.
I accept it and I give it right back to you guys. We're only as good as our support network, and I push it right back. And you guys, I wish you guys the best as well. Thank you for having me on.
Right on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
We will be back Wednesday, 7 p.m., same time, same place. You know what it is. Jeide 8-Track, my brother.
I'm Dash Smith. This has been Positive Vibes Maybe. We see you guys Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Bye, guys.
Peace.